So it's been a while since I've talked about the challenge list, and I think now is gonna be the perfect time to mention it because something really crazy actually happened with the challenge list very recently, and it was the fact that Illusion of Hell got dethroned as the top 1 challenge, with it now being below Re. This is Re here. As you can see, it's absolutely insane. It's this super dark challenge that has some really tight wave gaps and just very awkward transitions, and I don't know how people could do challenges. Some challenges are absolutely broken. This is one of them. Like, how is this a wave that is being done by a human being? I don't get it. And then it has like a pretty free cube ending. Free in quotations. I mean, just compared to this, you know. Now, I guess it is a new top 1 in quotations because technically this actually wasn't top 1 before. Originally, this was below Illusion of Hell. I actually covered the challenge list 3 weeks ago in my video saying about how the last 2 days have been crazy for top 1 levels, and I mentioned the challenge list here because there was some conversation on Re actually, and as you can see here, it was below Illusion of Hell at number 2, still above VSC. And the reason that I mentioned it in that video is because we've actually known since then that this level probably is harder than Illusion of Hell, and we've been kind of waiting to see if it does get moved above, because this player is over GD and is actually the verifier of Illusion of Hell, the previous top 1. But 3 weeks ago they got 12 to 100 on Reed, that is most the level. Over has spent over 245,000 attempts and has said that this would be their hardest achievement ever if completed. And so, of course, if they've beaten Illusion of Hell, and they've also got 12 to 100 in Re and thinks it's way harder, then we're kind of just waiting for the top 1 to change. Because looking at the list right now, Illusion of Hell only has one other victor in Diamond, and Re currently has no victors, meaning Over is the only person that really has notable progress on both levels. Here's the Discord changelog here. Due to new opinions, Re and Illusion of Hell was swapped, with Re now sitting above at 1 after 392 days of Illusion of Hell. So yeah, it has been over a year since this level's been top 1, has been dethroned as the hardest level in the challenge list. Congratulations to Torn again for verifying. So yeah, this is definitely top 1. It says that with new opinions, so I'm assuming other top players have given this a shot and agreed with Over that this is harder than Illusion of Hell. But yeah, this is a crazy change. Now, I think that this is going to be a great change because a lot of people do not like Illusion of Hell. I have it here at 0.5 speed so you can just see how tight the gaps are and so I can talk over it. But this is Illusion of Hell, and a lot of the reason that people don't like this level is that it was made by Exen. This is no shade on Exen as a creator. The reason people don't really like this is just because Exen makes a bunch of top 1s. I'm not necessarily saying they're bad, but he makes a bunch of top 1s and everything. And so it felt very cash grabby, and the fact that it's also just a layout as well, it's not like VSC where it's completely decorated, makes it think like the Exen only made it top 1 to be popular. I know Re is also still a layout, but it does have a tad bit of color, and I think that both of these levels are still, like, somewhat interesting anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I think it's just cool that we are seeing a new top 1. The creator Zalix has a really good video on this topic saying why VSC couldn't be dethroned, and he goes over why stuff like Illusion of Hell placing above VSC and I guess Re now is so important. One of the reasons why is the fact that VSC took 1,300 days to be dethroned as the top 1. He mentions it in that video. And to put that into perspective, Tidal Wave and Tartarus took like 2 years each for them to stay in the top 1 spot around that time, okay? So 1,300 days is diabolical. And the fact that only 2 levels have been above VSC shows how ahead of the time VSC was, and keep in mind that this isn't like a very unpopular list. Loads of people play challenges. Challenges are still massively popular. A year ago, the top 20 did not look like this. As for how hard Re is compared to the Illusion of Hell, I don't exactly know, but we know that VSC is harder than Slaughterhouse, or like around Slaughterhouse. It's debated if it's harder than Slaughterhouse or not, but we can say that VSC is relative to Slaughterhouse. meaning these two have to be harder than it. It's also kind of hard to say because most challenge players only play challenges, and the ones that don't, they still just compare the difficulty between other challenges and not actual normal length levels. So it is kind of difficult to judge their difficulty. I'm sure someone in the comments, if someone in the comments knows this take of how hard these two levels actually are compared to normal levels, and they can provide evidence, then comment it down, and I maybe pin the comment if it's factual. But yeah, I just think it's really interesting that we saw this change happen, because obviously the challenge list is probably in the big three lists of GD. Obviously, there's like the demon list, the challenge list, and then the third one, I guess, like the all-raid extreme demon list, the three big main ones. There's also the global list, but I don't actually know how people stand with the global list right now. I might have to make a separate video kind of comparing it against the demon list, because I've been seeing in recent times a lot more people switch to the global list, even though I think a lot of rankings are a bit inaccurate. Well, maybe not switching, but more just saying the demon list only adds updates the global list have done years ago. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on this topic. I should probably give OverGD another shout out, because I know it was 3 weeks ago by now, but still getting 12 through 100 on the top 1 challenge that could be way harder than Illusion of Hell, and only having 5,000 views on it is crazy. I'm already subscribed. Go subscribe. We can get them to 3K. They're only like 20 subs away. We can do that. Also, to put into perspective how much harder these levels are to VSC, if you look at the records on VSC, 43 completions are registered. All of these people have beaten VSC, and the other top 2 combined have a total of 1 victor, and of course the 2 verifiers. That is such a difference. And I know that VSC has been out for a much longer period of time, but also keep in mind, Illusion of Hell is also an incredibly popular level, and that level's been out for nearly a year now. I mean, it pretty much has been out for a year. And so the fact that it still only has 1 victor is kind of crazy. And I should also probably give Torn here a shout out for actually being the verifier of Re 7 months ago. I feel like I am missing something here, because how have you got 93,000 views on a top 1 verification with 19 subscribers? Am I missing something here? Maybe? But I mean, I think go support Torn, because like, that just seems wrong. Like, this deserves so much more attention. I also want to just say I'm sorry, because in this video I said the MRAT could be the first victor of Amethyst if he tried, which, yeah, Zoink has obviously beaten Amethyst before, but, like I said in a community post, I made this video at like 2 a.m. before I was going to sleep, and I was already lacking in sleep, and I was kinda just, like, forgetting the Zoink beat Amethyst just because of how little progress has been happening with that level. So, yeah, that was a bit misworded by me. I'm sorry about that. I'll try and look over my videos better now. But I haven't really got much more to say. Thanks for watching all the way through, and peace.